Hey there, and welcome to our channel where we love to explore the amazing world around us. In today's episode, we're going to travel back in time and uncover some secrets from millions of years ago. Have you ever heard of fossils? Fossils are like secret messages hidden in rocks that tell us stories about the ancient creatures that once roamed our planet. They're like clues that help us understand what life was like millions of years ago. But what exactly is a fossil? It's not just a spooky skeleton or a dinosaur bone. A fossil is the preserved remains or traces of ancient plants, animals, or even microorganisms that lived in the distant past. These remarkable discoveries can be found all over the world, and they come in all shapes and sizes. Now let's talk about how these fossils are formed, because it's a pretty incredible process. You see, when an organism like a dinosaur died, its body would decompose and get broken down by natural processes. But sometimes, under very special conditions, parts of its body, like bones or teeth, could be preserved in rock. Over millions of years, these remains turn into fossils. It's like a natural time capsule. But wait, it doesn't happen to every animal, does it? That's right. Fossilization is a rare and complex event that requires a unique combination of circumstances. First, the remains need to be buried quickly to protect them from scavengers and the elements. Then, they must be subjected to heat and pressure over a very long time. And finally, they must be uplifted to the Earth's surface so that they can be discovered by us. So you can imagine how special it is when we find one. And here's another fascinating fact. Fossils aren't always just bones. They can also be footprints left behind by dinosaurs as they walked through soft mud, which later hardened into rock. How cool is that? It's like stepping back in time and seeing the actual footprint of a dinosaur. We can also find fossils of plants, including leaves, seeds, and even wood. These fossils provide clues about the types of plants that grew in different environments millions of years ago. And sometimes we discover something even more unusual, like fossils of entire ecosystems preserved in amber. Amber is a special type of tree resin that can trap and preserve small organisms like insects. When this resin hardens, it creates a transparent stone that acts like a time capsule. Just imagine opening up a piece of amber and finding a perfectly preserved insect from millions of years ago. It's like a tiny window into the past. There are three main types of fossils: body fossils, trace fossils, and molecular fossils. Body fossils are the preserved physical remains of ancient organisms. This includes things like bones, shells, and teeth. Trace fossils, on the other hand, are the preserved evidence of an organism's activity. This can include footprints, burrows, and even bite marks. Molecular fossils are a bit different. They're not the preserved remains of an organism, but rather the traces of molecules that were present in ancient organisms. For example, scientists can find the preserved molecules of ancient bacteria in rocks. All of these different types of fossils work together to help us understand the history of life on Earth. Body fossils are the most common type of fossil that people think of when they hear the word fossil. They're the preserved remains of ancient organisms that have been turned to rock. This can include bones, shells, and teeth. For example, a dinosaur skeleton that you might have seen in a museum is a type of body fossil. Body fossils are important because they provide direct evidence of what ancient organisms looked like and how they lived. They can also help us understand how different species are related to each other. For example, by studying the bones of a fossil mammal, we can learn about its size, shape, and way of life. We can also compare these bones to the bones of modern mammals to see how they're related. Trace fossils, on the other hand, are the preserved evidence of an organism's activity. This can include footprints, burrows, and even bite marks. For example, a dinosaur footprint preserved in rock is a type of trace fossil. Trace fossils are important because they can provide information about an organism's behavior. For example, by studying dinosaur footprints, we can learn how they moved and interacted with their environment. We can also use trace fossils to learn about the environment in which an organism lived. For example, fossilized footprints can tell us whether an animal was living in a wet or dry environment. Molecular fossils are a bit different from body and trace fossils. They're not the preserved remains of an organism, but rather the traces of molecules that were present in ancient organisms. For example, scientists can find the preserved molecules of ancient bacteria in rocks. Molecular fossils are important because they can provide information about the chemistry of life. For example, by studying the molecules of ancient bacteria, we can learn how life has changed over time. We can also use molecular fossils to study the evolution of genes. For example, by comparing the genes of ancient and modern organisms, we can learn how these genes have changed over time. Now that we know a little bit about the different types of fossils, let's take a journey through time and explore some of the amazing fossils that have been discovered. First, we'll travel back to the Jurassic period, about 200 million years ago. During this time, the Earth was dominated by dinosaurs. One of the most famous fossils from the Jurassic period is the skeleton of a Brachiosaurus. This massive herbivore was one of the largest animals that ever lived, reaching lengths of up to 26 meters. Imagine seeing one of these creatures roaming through the jungle. Another famous Jurassic fossil is the Stegosaurus. This plant-eating dinosaur was known for its distinctive plates along its back. These plates were probably used for display and may have helped the animal regulate its body temperature. Moving forward in time to the Cretaceous period, about 145 million years ago, we can see the rise of the Tyrannosaurus rex. This fearsome carnivore was one of the largest and most powerful predators that ever lived. Its massive jaws and sharp teeth were capable of crushing bones, and its strong legs allowed it to run at incredible speeds. Another famous Cretaceous fossil is the Triceratops. This large herbivore was known for its three-horned head and its large frill, a bony structure that extended from the back of its skull. The Triceratops was one of the last dinosaurs to live, and it went extinct along with the rest of the dinosaurs at the end of the Cretaceous period. Finally, we'll travel to the present day to see some of the amazing fossils that are still being discovered today. In recent years, scientists have made some incredible discoveries in the fossil record. One of the most exciting is the discovery of a new species of human ancestor. This fossil, known as Homo naledi, was discovered in South Africa in 2008, and it provided new insights into the evolution of our species. Another recent discovery is the fossil of a new species of ancient whale. This whale, known as Ambulocetus, lived about 50 million years ago, and it was one of the first whales to walk on land. Its discovery has helped scientists better understand the transition of whales from land to water. These are just a few examples of the amazing fossils that have been discovered. From the giant dinosaurs of the Jurassic period to the ancestors of modern whales, the fossil record is full of surprises. So now, it's your turn to explore the world of fossils. Go outside and look for fossils in your area. Visit a local museum to see fossils in person, or learn more about fossils online. Who knows what amazing discoveries you might make? We hope you enjoyed learning about fossils in this episode of Our Amazing World. Remember, the Earth has a lot of secrets, and we've only just begun to uncover them. There's so much more to learn about the history of our planet and the creatures that once roamed it. Keep exploring, and you never know what amazing discoveries you might make. If you like this episode, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Thanks for watching.